Hi there. Ever see a recipe online and wish you could watch someone who isn't good at cooking try it for the first time? Welcome to the Noob Gourmet Test Kitchen. For this episode, I made garlic braised short ribs with red wine by Alison Roman in the New York Times cooking section. Supposedly this serves 6 people and takes about 4.5 hours. Short ribs are a cut of beef that needs to be cooked a long time, braised in this case, to break down the connective tissue between the meat and the bone. That tissue breaking down and the fat dissolving into the broth are what give a good short rib a rich taste and soft texture. I chose this recipe because it had 3 things I love in the title: red wine, garlic, and short ribs. This recipe called for carrots, celery, onions, 2 heads of garlic sliced in half, and some parsley that will be used as a garnish after it's done. The vegetables aren't meant to be eaten with the short rib at the end. They're only meant to sit in the pot and impart their flavor to the dish. Searing the meat before you slow cook it both speeds up the cooking time, a funny thing to think about in such a long recipe, and more importantly gives the dish more flavor due to the caramelization on the surface of the meat. This recipe also has you brown the garlic cut side down in the pan, presumably to caramelize it and give the dish more flavor. Short ribs usually have a lot of fat near the surface, which is why the recipe suggests pouring off some of the fat after you're done searing, though I think I poured off too much because it's hard to eyeball what 2 tablespoons looks like in a large pot. To prepare the stock to cook the short rib in, I added the vegetables, salt and pepper, and tomato paste. Once the veggies softened, I added the red wine and simmered to take the edge off or cook off the alcohol smell. I stirred in the beef stock, added the thyme, then once it was combined, I returned the short ribs to the pot. Brought the whole thing to a simmer, put the lid on, and popped it in the oven at 275 degrees. Then I went and did something else for 4 hours. All that was left to do was take the ribs out of the pot, careful to keep the bones in for presentation, strain the vegetables, and skim the fat off the sauce to make a nice jus, and serve. Here's a 360 view of this beautiful, lovely short rib. And all that's left to do now is grab a glass of red wine and enjoy. And there you have it. 4 hours later, a delicious, melts-in-your-mouth braised short rib. I added some chives and lemon zest on top, which complemented the flavors of the wine, garlic, and vegetables nicely. How was it? The short rib was cooked well, it was tender and fell off the bone. The jus and the herbs and lemon on top complemented each other nicely. Overall, the recipe was easy to make and came out just like the author described it. Also, I could save the bones to make a rich stock some other time. One thing I found interesting was the author describing how, after time in the oven, the vegetables will have given up their texture and flavor. It felt like a lot of vegetables to just throw away at the end, but maybe that's how they do it in restaurants. The short ribs and the sauce did keep well. We had leftovers and it tasted great the next day. Would I make this recipe again? I think I would. Thank you, Alison Roman, for teaching me about braising short ribs, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.